What is going on, guys? Welcome to another episode of Homeowner Harry in the Shop. So today we got to make a copper water trap system for my air compressor, just because, like I said in the last video, when I'm running the sandblaster or like a DA sander, I'm really working the air compressor. It creates a lot of moisture, and then when I go to paint, sometimes there's leftover moisture like in the lines and whatnot, and it can cause some serious problems with paint. So today we got a bunch of copper tubing, a bunch of elbows, valves. We're gonna make this elaborate system on my wall to hopefully eliminate all the moisture issues. So I did some research on this topic. Feel free to correct me if I'm wrong, but I believe the #1 problem with moisture in your air compressor system is having the water trap too close to the actual air compressor, because when the air compressor heats up, it condensates, it creates moisture as a vapor, and if it doesn't cool off before it gets to the water trap, it continues through the water trap as a vapor, where it later on in the downstream hose turns back into a water liquid and then creates all sorts of issues. So what we're going to do today is take a bunch of copper pipe, make this little zigzag system on the wall with some drains on the bottom, and that is going to cool the air before it gets to the water trap and the desiccant filter. And I think that's going to help out a lot. So let's check out the compressor. Let's check out everything we got to build this system, and hopefully we'll be moisture free. So you guys know, not too long ago we picked up a 80-gallon compressor. So you can see I have the output or outlet right there, and it runs maybe 5 feet up to, yes, I do have the bowls off, but this is the little water trap. It's pretty ghetto, a little cheap one. And then this is a desiccant filter, and then I have a regulator right there. So what I am thinking I might do is take all this off of the wall here, move the compressor over a little bit, kind of to pull it away from this wall, and then on this wall is where I want to actually make the little copper water trap. So I'm going to pull all that off, get that hanger somewhere else, and move this compressor out of the way for now. This is everything we got. This is 3/4 inch copper pipe. I got 30 feet of it. I probably won't use it all, but I hate running out, so I got extra. I got a bunch of 90s and T's. I got some of these adapters that can go on the pipe and thread into these fittings, so I can hook up valves and hook up into my regulator and all that. And then I think I actually have some soldering, but this nice little kit they had for a few bucks, so I picked that up. And just some clamps so we can clamp it on the walls. I have very, very little experience in sweating copper together. I've done it a few times with success and no leaks, but this is air, so hopefully we can make this stuff leak free. One thing I think I'm going to do before I do anything is, looks like this pipe was sitting outside for a while and it's pretty dirty, so I'm going to take some Scotch-Brite, maybe some acetone, wipe it up, clean it up, make sure everything is clean. All these fittings look really, really clean. What I'm going to do is basically make 3 horizontal runs with drains at the bottom, and then obviously they're going to connect to each other, so that way there's like 15 or 20 feet of copper pipe so that the air can cool off. Like I said, in that pipe all the water is going to drain to the bottom. I'm going to have these ball valves. Yes, these are gas ball valves. They were like 10 bucks cheaper than a water ball valve, and I don't see why those wouldn't work. So those are going to be at the bottom of each of the 3 runs, and then we're going to run over to the desiccant filter and the water trap, and then up, and these go down to there. And I got one here, I got one for the lift, and then one to a hose reel on the back that I don't really use anymore. I might actually move that one, but for now, let's cut some stuff apart, clean up some pipe, and see what we can build. All right, we got everything cut. So I got 4 sticks that are 5 feet long and then 6 6-inch pieces. Before you guys start talking crap about me cutting this stuff, I tried using this tubing cutter and all it does is indent it. It won't cut it for some reason. I've used it before and it has worked. I'm not sure why it's not working, but either way, I guess it gave me a chance to try out the Sawzall, which actually works pretty good. So we are ready to start soldering some stuff together. So I'm just gonna throw you guys on a quick time lapse. We'll bust this thing out. I wanna get this done so we can get back to painting. All right, we got this whole system all together, mounted up, got it all plumbed in, mounted the filters and regulator right there. So that shouldn't be in the way of anything. If anything, it's a little more accessible than it was before. And yes, I am gonna move this compressor back kind of into that corner a little bit more. I'm not gonna go super close, but a little bit farther into the corner, just so I can put my welders right here. But let's throw some air at this thing and see if it has got any leaks. You hear that, guys? That sounds like success, not a single leak in this whole system. Now that is what I'm talking about. So it looks like we're at 80 PSI on the gauge there, and I don't hear a single leak. So I think we are 100% good to go. So every once in a while, I'm just gonna come back here, open these valves up. This is where all the water should settle into the bottom of these 3 dropouts, and open the valve to let the water out. Also, I have a drain on the tank. I can drain the water out of that. I can drain the water out of the filter, and then at these manifolds, there's a little valve on the bottom right there that you can drain the water out of the manifolds as well. Hopefully this setup works. I won't be able to try it out right now just because I don't really have anything to sandblast or anything to run this compressor. I don't want to just run the compressor for no good reason. So I'll definitely keep you guys in the loop on how this system works and how it traps the moisture. All right, guys, the water trap system is done and hopefully working good. I'll definitely let you guys know in a future video how it's been working, but we can finally get back to paint. Coming up in the next video, we got to flatten these doors back out, and I don't think I'm gonna strip them all the way. I think I'm just gonna flatten them out till we get most of those bumps out. And then I'm just gonna get some more epoxy, some good epoxy. I actually got in another quart of that same stuff. So I'm gonna mix some of that up, and hopefully there's no chunks in that. And I'll probably double strain it just to make sure. And then we can hose these things out again, and then finally get to some body work. Well, hope you guys enjoyed the video. Hope it helps you out if you wanted to build something like that. With copper prices these days, I spent about 300 bucks on it. But on a normal day, probably wouldn't have been that expensive. But nowadays, everything's expensive, so either way, 300 bucks well spent if it works like it should, which I did find this design on Google. Someone else built one and said it worked great, so I copied it and we'll see how it works. It should work just fine. So I hope you guys enjoyed the video. Go smash that thumbs up button. We'll see you guys in the next one.